This is actually an issue that I feel very close to over the last 3 months. So I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to speak out of turn here. But I love this question because this is really a huge amount of what I've been working on the last few months because this is what the community is talking about, right? Teachers, when I'm meeting with them, want to talk about how they feel misunderstood by leadership all the time. And leadership, as I'm meeting with them, wants to talk about how teachers are just not understanding what they're asking them to do. And it is just a never ending circle. It feels like we're on a mouse trap, right? Where we're just going and going. Um, I am struggling with this because I think everyone in a space of crisis wants to find a bad guy. We want to find a person to blame.
Mm.
And as an educator, I used to blame and did blame my administrator all the time for stuff. Um, I think as I've learned more about leadership, I'm learning that administrators have very, very little power. And I gave them all the power. They were the holders of all things good and all things bad. And they were worthy of not only carrying the crown of being the face of the building, but they also were worthy of all the garbage that came with that when stuff came down the pipeline. And I have learned a great deal. I have had to apologize a great deal as I've learned that administrators, at least at the administrator level that we're talking about, principals, assistant principals, even directors in some regard, coaches in some regard, have exceptionally limited power and are truly the messengers in so many decisions. I don't actually think there are many things that they get to make decisions on that teachers choose to blame them for. On the flip side, I think leaders have an exceptional ability to forget what it's like to be a teacher. And as we transition into leadership, they believe that teachers should be treated differently than students. And the reality is that as you become a school building leader, the only thing that changes in your role is that your teachers are now your audience rather than having 11-year-olds as your audience. And so I spend countless hours talking to administrators about what they would expect in a classroom to be done when this type of message, when a message needs to be communicated, and really pushing back and wondering why that isn't the same expectation for an administrator as they're leading a professional development meeting on a Monday morning. So I think that to me there's this misunderstanding of the two groups, but they're easy to pit against each other.
Mhm.
There are a lot of people making decisions that aren't in those two groups, and I'd rather have teachers and leadership come together to really foster the right solution, rather than being frustrated with each other because they're fighting with two groups that aren't actually the problem creators. Um, there's a chapter in a book that I published in 2020 that says, teachers deserve respect and teachers deserve good leadership. And the whole book is all about what teachers deserve. But those two things specifically, the one about respect emphasizes the fact that teachers do deserve respect. But the first moment to be able to get what we deserve is teachers informing people about why they deserve respect. Because unfortunately, it isn't just an inherent belief that teachers deserve respect. It's teachers' role to say, I'm educated. It's a teacher's role to say, I have my master's degree. I've studied this. I know the research. I do 180 hours of professional development every 3 years to keep my license. And the first thing that needs to happen is teachers advocating for themselves. And I think it'll be easier to advocate for themselves when they see that the people that are around them aren't all against them. There's just a few people who don't understand the perspective. So I went down a rabbit hole there. I apologize, but it's a great question.
No, you really helped because I'm over here taking notes because I'm in that kind of crazy crossroads right now where um, I'm considering throwing my name in a hat. Well, I've thrown my name in a hat for an administrative position after 15 years in the classroom, and
Killer.
I fought it. And Kyle knows since we've met, I've told him that's one thing I never wanted to be. But having to serve kind of in small capacities to help out on my campus because we're short an administrator, I've seen the impact that I could have.
Mhm.
And it wasn't because it's not like because I'm frustrated to be in the classroom. Like I love the classroom is my jam. Like that's my space. I love teaching kids. And I think that's my hard part is what you said is about realizing that now my students are not the 11 and 12-year-old students that's coming in. They're the 28 to 30 to 23 to 40-year-old teachers that now I have to engage in the exact same way that I engaged my classroom.
Yeah.